trust the Democrats in Congress to fix health care, or are you scared of what one-party reform would bring?
People out there that are just waving the flag of saying no. You got some people out there that are saying government needs to do everything. We got to find that middle ground.
Good evening and welcome to Richard French Live. I'm Andrew Whitman, in once again tonight for Richard French. That was Missouri Senator Claire McCaskill responding to days of heckling at the healthcare town halls that she's held across her state this week. She's been getting an earful from those who are terrified of a government-run healthcare plan. And McCaskill, a moderate Democrat, is often lumped into the blue dog category, may be listening, as she has backed off any overt support of a government-backed public health care option. And that, frankly, may have been the goal of all of those helping to organize these protests all along. But it's one thing to make judgments from clips and snippets of these events, and another thing entirely to actually attend one. That's why we headed to New Jersey today for a healthcare town hall hosted by Congressman Steve Rothman. Tonight we're going to give you the whole story on these town hall protests, extended clips from the protesters themselves, as well as some of the answers from the congressman. We're also going to ask you to weigh in on the issue that has so many of those people at those town halls so scared and furious. Do you trust the Democrats in Congress to fix health care in America? 38 RNN chat is the number to call. You can also join us online at rnntv.com. We will get to your reaction in just a few minutes. But first, the president himself took his health care reform message to a town hall meeting today. But did he feel the same heat that other lawmakers have been experiencing? Let's bring in RNN's Carolyn Rowe. She joins us now with more.
Well, Andrew, the White House is not backing down on one of the administration's top priorities, health care reform, hoping to calm fears and clarify details about what it is and what won't be part of his health care agenda. President Obama headed to New Hampshire, where he took questions from a much less contentious audience than has greeted other Washington lawmakers. President Obama's town hall meeting in Portsmouth, New Hampshire had the makings of a confrontation over health care reform. Instead, the tenor was civil, unlike the meetings that have been taking place across the country.
I'm not a rowdy person. No, I'm just here to express my opposition to the plan.
I'd like a public option, and I'm not afraid of that.
Mr. Obama was on the attack and accused critics of scaring and misleading Americans about his reform proposals.
Where we do disagree, let's disagree over things that are real. Not these wild misrepresentations.
Mr. Obama focused his message on reforms that are popular among Americans who already have health insurance. That includes ending the practice of denying coverage to people with pre-existing conditions and preventing insurance companies from dropping patients if they get sick. If the tone of the president's town hall meeting was tempered across the country, fireworks at meetings organized by lawmakers who are explaining the proposed health care reforms to their constituents.
What are you going to do to restore this country back to what our founders created according to the Constitution?
Senator Arlen Specter called the group in Lebanon, Pennsylvania, informed and said he would bring back their feedback to Congress.
I have a very good idea of the temper of the crowd.
Now, death threats led a Kansas Democrat to cancel some healthcare town halls. The FBI is investigating faxes containing offensive language and racial slurs that were sent to a Georgia Democrat and a swastika that was painted outside his office. Andrew?
And outside the town hall that we were at today in New Jersey, we saw some people from the LaRouche PAC handing out pamphlets that had a picture of Obama and a picture of Hitler right next to each other, trying to make that connection.
Unbelievable.
So, common threads among a number of different town halls that we've seen. Carolyn, thank you very much. Now, the use of those Nazi symbols and comparisons by some in those crowds makes it easy to paint these town hall protesters as extremists. But of course they're not. They're really just concerned citizens, many of whom, or some of whom, may have been hearing a bit too much from the scare merchants on the right. This afternoon, we took our cameras to Wallington, New Jersey, and a town hall held by Democratic Congressman Steve Rothman to take you inside one of these town halls. Here are just some of the questions we heard and some of the answers the congressman provided.
How can you possibly keep this under control cost-wise when everything the government touches is an overrun?
That's the issue. If they don't come up with a plan that makes sense fiscally, financially, it shouldn't pass, and I won't support it.
Please do not support a bill which gives a Washington board the sole decision about which people get health care based on their age and life expectancy. Because my father would have been dead 9 years ago.
There should be no rationing of care and euthanasia. That's horrible.
What about the illegals? Are they going to do this or not?
The illegals are specifically, expressly excluded from these bills in all of the drafts. Only legal residents. Excuse me, sir? Now, there are some, I've heard this at the last 2 town hall meetings where they say, no, Steve, you're wrong. Illegals can get it. Well, I've read the language that says expressly, only for legal residents. Now, either you believe me or you don't believe me.
Our First Amendment rights are violated. We're in fear of our Second Amendment rights. We're in fear of the Fourth Amendment rights. So I'm not alone in this, and that's what I want to say. I think we're on the road to socialism, and this health care bill is the first stop along the way.
But what we're not hearing is Chuck Schumer is behind closed doors fashioning a comprehensive immigration bill that will give these people amnesty and make them legal. So in essence, you are going to be covering these illegal aliens with health care.
By the way, I know many of you loathe Obama, and that's up to you. That's up to you. That's American right to hate your president. There are plenty of people who hated George W. Bush. But the truth is, Obama may have said to Congress, come up with a bill, but Obama didn't give the Congress a draft. If you think the bills stink, blame the Congress. You can blame Obama for telling them to do something, but Obama didn't write the bill.
So that's just some of the give and take from the town hall with Congressman Rothman today. Now, after the meeting broke up, I spoke one-on-one with some of the opponents of the Democrats' reform plans to find out what exactly has them so concerned and what, beyond just worries over health care, may really be driving this debate.
If the public government option was offered to you, will you take it? If it's so good, will you take it? Not once did he answer.
He did say he would have the same choice.
That doesn't say yes or no. If this plan is so good and you're all passing it through, why isn't everybody in the government taking the plan? If it's so good and it's supposed to help our economy, why aren't they taking it?
But there are also questions about competition for private insurance companies. Now, would you behold him for staying with a private insurance company?
If he's pushing this down my throat, yeah, I would.
But you would also have the option on what insurance to use, whether it be the private or the public.
Again, if you're pushing this down and saying it's so good for the economy, why aren't you taking it?
You were stating in your question that you think this is all leading to a single-payer health care system, and that this is basically the beginning of socialism.
Absolutely. I definitely think that way, yes.
What gives you that idea?
When you put all the pieces together of the puzzle and you do some research and you look back on what happened in history, these are things that have happened before, and it just seems to be leading to the same thing.
Why would a government want to do that?
I think there's a hidden agenda. I'm sorry to sound so, eerie about it, but I do think there's a hidden agenda based on other research that I've done.
To do what? What's that hidden agenda?
I think that Obama is surrounding himself with people that he wants in order to have a type of government where the government controls everything.
Who the hell do you think you are? Move it a little bit to the right.